You ready?
Yep.
Hello, my name is Aiden Tombolt, and I am a sophomore mechanical engineering major. With me today, I have Will Ramsey, a junior computer science major, Connor Cahill, a senior computer engineering major, and Elizabeth Sachlinden, a junior graphic communications major. Today, we'll be presenting the story of how we made the infographics for the transit systems that are prevalent in and around Clemson University. The background. When we initially began working on this project, we all had to make separate infographics on a specific sustainability topic that stood out to us. As individuals, we each kind of decided to create an infographic on the different alternative transportation methods available at Clemson. I know for me personally, I didn't really use any alternative methods and tended to just walk around or drive my own car. Despite noticing that there are so many people that just use single occupancy vehicles at Clemson. As we began working on these infographics, we found that approximately 7% of all carbon emissions comes from single occupancy vehicles, which is something we agreed needed to be fixed. Also, as more people use the alternative transportation, it would heavily decrease the amount of traffic that is around Clemson, especially on Tiger Boulevard. We found several alternatives of driving alone, including the Zipcar program, which allows someone to rent out a fully electric vehicle, ride sharing with other students to Clemson, and simply walking and riding a bike around campus. In fact, as shown in the infographic I made, Clemson University is already one of the 58 universities in the country that's considered bike friendly. The next step in this was choosing which of these alternatives we were going to speak about.
Yep, so now that Aiden has outlined the problem, I'll explain why we, at this point in our research, chose to focus specifically on the bus systems here at Clemson. So if you don't know, CATBus is Clemson Area Transit. It is the bus system serving Clemson, Pendleton, Seneca, and of course, Clemson University. And Tiger Transit is basically like a bus taxi system for students on campus. So the first reason we chose bus systems is because they're the most popular method of alternative transportation, and they are currently growing in popularity. So of course, Clemson's always getting bigger. The city is always growing in population. So we need to expand these systems. And also, according to the environmental audit, CATBus is the most popular option among students when asked to which system they would expand to decrease vehicle emissions. Also, CATBus already has a great start on a fully electric bus fleet. They currently have about 50% electric buses. And finally, CATBus is free and usable for a wide portion of the population, but there is a portion of the Clemson population that is excluded, and there's some underserviced areas in the city that CATBus could be expanded to. So that is what we wanted to target and try to get more people to use the buses and get those underserviced areas more service. So with that, we came up with the main purpose to create a proposal to the Sustainability Commission to increase the size and use of the transit systems in Clemson University. And to do that, we came up with a number of stakeholders to target to complete our main purpose.
So the stakeholders we finally decided to do were the citizens of the Clemson, Seneca, Pendleton area, the students who go to Clemson University, along with other universities such as Southern Wesleyan, the Clemson University officials, along with the CATBus officials. The reason we wanted to address the citizens was that many of them may not know how accessible the CATBus systems were. For them, it's a completely free system that they can use whatever. So it'd be very useful for them to get from one place to another. If more citizens ride the bus, this can help decrease the amount of carbon emissions at Clemson, which is part of our main purpose. Similarly, we're addressing the students, so they'll be given more knowledge of the transit systems that are available, which will also make them more likely to ride the bus. The reason we address university officials was that if they begin to increase the size and better promote the transit systems, then it may cause the students to ride the bus more. I know for me personally, I was never really given much information on the different transit systems available, which was one reason I never really used it. Finally, we really would like to address the CAT bus officials, as there are currently plenty of areas around the city of Clemson that do not have access to the transit systems. So if we'd be able to increase the amount of routes that they have, it would be very useful in promoting the use of it. Also, it'd be very helpful to increase the electric vehicle use, make it higher than 50% to help decrease these carbon emissions.
So what did this creative process look like when we were going through this project? So we started by simply just choosing a topic. We were able to choose anything regarding sustainability at Clemson, and the options were nearly endless. By fate, 4 Clemson students in this class selected the same exact topic with nearly all the same facts and information. And then our team was formed. One broad topic quickly turned into 4 specific plans to target stakeholders. Something that we all decided is super important in a group project, especially when we don't see each other in person, is consistency. We met with our team to discuss ideas and our content. This way, we would not clash in style and we would have a smooth, consistent outline throughout our different stakeholders' information. We also wanted to ensure that our facts aligned, as we all used different sources in our original infographic. One example of this was seen with the carbon emissions. A few different websites had different percentages, and so we had to settle on one percentage that we thought was the most accurate. These simple ideas came to life through 4 beautiful infographics, although I may be biased. From there, Dr. Beck allowed us to look at other teams' infographics in class. This allowed us to look at everyone else's great ideas and pull what we liked into our own project. Next, we stepped aside from the digital graphics and hit the paper, or Google Doc. We drafted a proposal that would hypothetically be directed to stakeholders on what we think could be done for transportation sustainability. We took our word vomit draft, edited it, and turned it into our professional document that we have today. The last thing we would want is for our ideas to die in our Canvas submission. We want to practice what we preach, and we'll continue to spread the knowledge that we learned, and even take some steps towards change. Can't wait to run into each other on the buses. And then here we have our final designs in our infographics.
So with the citizens in mind, which is the first infographic you see on the left, it was heavily designed on informing them of the different availabilities they had with the CAT bus. For example, on the bottom left, you see that it has a list of places they may need to go in order to promote them to go to these places, such as Walmart and the Seneca Library. It also has some additional information that's specifically targeted towards the citizens. For example, it mentions the age limit and what website to call, the phone number to call and website to visit in order to get them to call and bring their kids along with them. It also emphasizes that's a free bus system that is not just for Clemson University students, because this may be the belief of many of the citizens who live in Pendleton, Clemson, and Seneca, and all the surrounding areas.
Next to the right, we have the students infographic. So me personally, walking on campus, it's easy to miss an infographic that's posted on a bulletin board or something. So I wanted to make it very clear in its message. And through this, I broke it down to 3 major steps: problem, solution, and how you can get involved. I'm a graphic communications major, as Aiden mentioned. And so something we've learned in class is just keeping it simple with 1 to 2 colors. It can really just catch someone's eye easily, kept to only 2 fonts. And this way, I feel like it's very eye-catching, and it just tells students how they can get involved. Because once again, as Aiden said, a big problem is students just don't know that they have options. And that's where we see students just taking single capacity vehicles to campus every day and increasing that carbon emission percentage. So I feel like this infographic really brings home the point in a very consistent and clear way.
So third, we have the infographic that was targeted at the university officials. For this one, I focused mostly on information regarding how important the current system is in reducing carbon emissions and how much carbon emissions are caused by transportation at Clemson University. In particular, I put statistics on how Clemson University is compared with other similar universities in regards to transportation emissions, to show the university officials that to make Clemson University look more appealing and to put it in a higher standing, we need to increase the ability and expand and improve on the existing transportation so that Clemson can rise back up and do better in regards to competition and also with its overall emissions.
And finally, on the right here is the infographic targeted at CATBus specifically. So in this infographic, I focused less on the emission statistics and informational things that I'm sure the CATBus government officials are already aware of, and instead focused on what I thought would be important to them. So I have some ArcGIS data there in that map to show underserviced areas in the city, and focused on the solution, our proposed solution for them, which is to expand the electric bus program and get some more routes within those underserviced areas. And then finally, of course, we came up with our proposal document for the Sustainability Commission. So I wanted to briefly mention the design on this. So we did a lot of pre-planning and came up with all of the sections and the flow of the document together, and we put all the content in a collaborative document. And then at the end, I took all the content and put it into LaTeX, which is a document typesetting software, to make it look as professional as possible for the Sustainability Commission.
At this point, we've done all this work, but how do we know that it's even working? As recent advocates for this cause, we've compiled a list of things that we can do to see if our proposal is actually coming to life. One, as Ada mentioned, there is a 7% carbon emission coming from Clemson commuters. This is an easy number to track to see if it decreases over time. Two, another number we can track is the overall passengers that the CATBus takes to campus and around Clemson every year. The current statistic is 1.5 million passengers a year. We're hoping to see this number increase before we leave Clemson. Three, finally, as pleaded to CATBus officials, we hope to see the number of bus routes multiply and more electric buses commute around Clemson.
So what we're going to be doing in the future, because we're all pretty invested in this and we want Clemson to be the best, most sustainable thing it can be. First of all, through this, we learned that one important thing is to spread awareness of CATBus and how it works among friends and other people, and using the system ourselves so that we can really reduce the carbon emissions and carbon footprint from transportation, commuting to the university. Also, we want to try and push the university to expand and improve the current system because expansions and improvements mean that more people will probably ride CATBus, decreasing the number of single occupancy vehicles on the road and helping to further reduce that carbon emission statistic. We also want to use the infographics we've made and the data we've collected so that we can show all the different stakeholders like the students, the officials, and the citizens, the importance of using the CATBus and expanding it and how important alternative transportation is in reducing the carbon emissions. And finally, we want to continue to monitor the data that comes out, as was stated earlier, and see how these things are changing over time and if there's any improvement. And in conclusion, we are really invested in the alternative transportation and obviously the sustainability of Clemson. And so we really hope that our infographics will help to inform our stakeholders on how important this topic is and how imperative it is that we improve the system and increase usage of it. We found out a lot of things we didn't know about the systems in place and found, CATBus is an excellent way that we can help reduce the carbon emissions that we cause by transporting ourselves to university, and it can really help reduce the number of vehicles on the road. By using and supporting the CATBus, carbon emissions can be greatly reduced. And it's a free mode of transportation, so anyone can use it, and it's really useful. And we should all push for increased sustainability at Clemson and do our part to help spread awareness for those who might not know about these options and use them ourselves.
Although we're on Zoom, please email us with any questions. We're sorry we couldn't have time to present in class, but we hope you enjoyed our presentation and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. And here are references.